I'm joined now by David Smith, the Washington bureau chief for the Guardian newspaper. I understand you also covered the continent for some time. According to the Reuters news agency, Al-Shabaab called the attack a response to U.S. President Donald Trump, his decision to recognize Jerusalem as the capital of Israel. Is that really the motive, or are there other reasons as well?
There are certainly other long-standing reasons. One obvious one is Kenya's involvement in the conflict in Somalia. Going back several years, Kenya took a decision to protect its own border, and we've seen at least two major terrorist attacks before this one in response, including the Westgate shopping mall in Nairobi, which I partly covered, and which certainly has many parallels with this one. So we certainly have to see a wider context of Kenyan intervention in Somalia, indeed American and Western intervention in Somalia going back decades. Somalia remains the trouble spot, the source, a place where Al-Shabaab has suffered many defeats, but its tactics generally have been to lash out and react by choosing soft targets like this in Kenya and elsewhere.
You mentioned that, this mode of attack, the targets at an upscale hotel complex. Westerners, Americans, what is the point of reaching this particular target, foreigners?
I think probably twofold. One is that this particular complex, I think a Thai-owned hotel, very luxurious, private health organizations, others, they're really symbolic of high Western luxury living, if you like, and therefore the opposite of Al-Shabaab's dreams of a caliphate and a very anti-Western imperial message. But they're also aware of the publicity value around this, that if they carry out attacks in a rural village in Somalia or indeed Kenya, it will only garner so much coverage. Whereas I think they're fully aware, the eyes of the world are now on this incident and where it happened, partly because last I saw at least one American, one Briton had been killed. Also middle-class Kenyans caught up in it. They know it's going to generate maximum publicity for their cause.
I want to ask you about what our correspondent mentioned, the fact that the perpetrators in this incident were able to gain access or somehow enter the country. That's the first part of the question. But the second part, why has it been such a challenge to address Al-Shabaab and these type of terror attacks, on such a mass scale?
Well, for a start, the Kenyan-Somali border is somewhat porous. It's very difficult to police difficult terrain of that nature. But also Kenya's own government and security forces and police have got shortcomings in terms of funding, of corruption, of just organization. And for example, again, going back to that Westgate shopping mall attack of a few years ago, there were even turf wars between the army and the police that led to a slower response than was ideal. I think this time, actually, the response appears to have been better and more efficient, but that's just one example of how this is a pretty difficult thing to keep a lid on. And then added to that is America has played a crucial role in this region, a big supporter of Kenya, and of course, a big military operation in Somalia. But the Trump administration has given a lot of signals of pulling out, has sown a lot of uncertainty. So now even that backing is no longer as concrete as it once was.
Complicated situation down there. David Smith, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.